to very good morning to all visionaries, optometrists, and respected panelists. Myself, Neha, your host for today, I welcome you all to our enlightening panel discussion, Retailoscope, Smart Optometry with Fresh Lens. Before starting the panel discussion, let me introduce to you Opticonsult Me platform. This is set against the backdrop of evolving retail landscape in our country. We embark on a journey to explore the critical optometry-related skill gaps within the industry and take crucial steps in upgrading the skills. Before we kick off, we have a quick poll for our audience. I request all our audience to participate in this quick poll, which will be online for 30 seconds. Your opinions do matter, so please participate. I request all the participants to please participate in the poll. We've not received the poll is active. Here's the poll, and they have 4 questions to it. And please select the best answer to the same. The poll is on. Okay, so we are closing the poll, and let me share the results with the poll results with all of you. Okay, as expected, but there are surprising results here that as per the participants numbers, we have 62 participants, and out of them 36% are from hospital and that's clinics, diagnostic centers. 33% work at retail and corporate, and 31% are students. What, according to you, are the major gaps in clinical retail skill gaps in retail optometry practices? 62% is clinical knowledge, followed by. Can you just release the poll results, please, again? Yeah, followed by dispensing and communication and engagement and timely upskills. Okay, thank you. Okay, so let us delve into some numbers according to the comprehensive research and statistics backdrops. So if you see here, optical retail sector emerges as the robust contributor to optometry jobs in our country, with and splashing 85% of job positions for our optometrists, followed by hospitals, which is 14%, eye clinics 4%, optometry college and institutions 3%, research institutes and corporate each contribute 2%. As we navigate through the rich landscape of optometry jobs in India, let us also acknowledge the common challenges what our professionals face due to skill gaps. There are few hurdles which merit attention. These are lack of specialized training, rapid technological advancements, and changing customer needs. It is important to identify these skill gaps for 3 main reasons. That is for self-improvement, enhanced service quality, and career progression. However, there are current efforts and measures taken by various organizations, optometry institutes, and optometry groups by providing online and offline training sessions to bridge the gap. However, These training sessions are for mass audience and do not cater the needs of individual optometrists, which is a major concern in upgrading the overall optometry knowledge. So there are current gaps and opportunities lying in this. To bridge the current gap, it is essential to have an expert one-on-one consultation, which will not only help in identifying individual needs, but also provide tailored solutions to everybody. So what we are waiting for? So let me introduce with immense pleasure and proud the first ever optometry consultancy platform in India, which is OptiConsult.me Consultancy Services, which provides personalized training, specializes in skill development and mentorship programs. Why OptiConsult.me? What are the benefits of OptiConsult.me? Enhance competency to increase proficiency and confidence in the field, improve patient care, which enhances the ability to cater to diverse customer needs, and opportunities for promotion and professional growth through career advancement programs. So let us connect, discover, and transform with OptiConsult.me. For further details, log into our website www.opticonsultme.com. Meet our key team members, Dr. Rizwana Hussaindeen, who's our honorary advisor and a life coach, myself, Prema Chaurasia, as an advisor, Optom Rupam Mukherjee as an advisor, and Optom Murtuza Ebrahim as an advisor. Our ground team consists of the content support team, Optom Affan Ansari, Optom Alfin, Optom Mhd Inayat, and our blog support team, Optom Rupam Mhd, with our tech support team, Shubham Seth and team. Without further delays, let us jump into our main discussion session, which is panel discussion on Retailoscope. Let me introduce to you our expert panelists for the day. Please welcome Dr. Mrs. Prema Chande, an accomplished optometrist with a wealth of experience and accolades. She is currently serving as the head of the Department of Lotus College of Optometry since 2000. With a distinguished career, she has held leadership roles, including past board membership of Association of Schools and Colleges of Optometry and current board membership of Optometry Council of India. Recipient of prestigious awards, including the International Educator Award of the Year 2016 and a Lifetime Fiacre Award 2019. We welcome you, Prema ma'am. Let us now welcome Optom Rupam Sinha, who is a lead myocare India ZEISS and is an optimistic optometrist with over 15 plus years of diverse experience in retail, hospital, and corporate trainings. A member of ICL and Optometry Council of India and Indian Optometric Association. Rupam sir is also a sports nutritionist, an amateur athlete, and a lifelong learner. His passion lies in simplifying science. We welcome you, Rupam sir. Dr. Rizwana, let's welcome Dr. Rizwana Hussaindeen, an accomplished optometrist with 15 plus years of experience in academics, clinical practice, and vision science research. Dr. Rizwana is an immediate president of American Academy of Optometry India chapter and recipient of 2023 Emerging Outstanding Leader Award by American Academy of Optometry Foundation. She is also a certified life and emotional intelligence coach. Welcome, Dr. Rizwana. Finally, we have Optom Rupam Mukherjee, who is a seasoned professional in optometry and optical business. He has 12 plus years of experience, currently serving as the National Training Manager at Titan Eye Plus and having held key roles in other esteemed organizations. In his current position, he leads a team focusing on training, business development with a focus of progressive lens and contact lens segment. We welcome you, Rupam sir. So, this has been a never-ending debate. Whether to go for clinics or retail, I had this question on my mind. My heart said clinic, but there was an inclination towards retail. So let us hear from Optom Rupam, who has done both. So Optom Rupam Sinha, can you just enlighten us with your insights on whether we should go for clinics or retail?
Okay, so first and foremost, thank you for having me on this discussion with you, and thank you for that kind and energetic introduction. It's a very happy morning, like Dr. Rizwana has put on the comment section. I can't be more happier to be anywhere on a Sunday compared to listening to all of these people that I have seen and grown up. When I was an optometrist myself, both Dr. Prema and Rizwana, and of course my contemporary Rupam as well. So I guess your question is, shall we choose retail or shall we choose hospitals as a scope? And if you ask me, if I've understood your question correctly, it is hospital and retail, which shall I choose? So if you ask me, every retail that you see and every retail where an optometrist gets a chance to practice is a clinic in itself where you are the decision owner. You make the decision for your patients in the clinic where you deal with patients. And outside, when you are having a transaction with the patients, it's a customer. So you deal with the patients and a customer also in a retail. The same thing happens in a hospital as well, where you make the decision along with an ophthalmologist and your different optometry colleagues. So for me, both are equally good, both are equally important. At one place, you take care of your patients individually. Your decision making is the ultimate and primary that happens in retail. And in a hospital, you take care of the patients with the collective intelligence of an ophthalmologist and your fellow optometrists who are posted in different departments. However, in both the places, you see patients and customers. Patients are when you are providing them care and service, and customers are when they're actually getting into a transactional relationship with you. Maybe that they're going for a cataract, maybe they're going for a contact lenses, or maybe they're going for a pair of spectacles. So both ways, it's amazingly good. But however, if you ask me for a very budding optometrist, I would love them to have a hospital exposure first before jumping into retail, so that they know the disease. And when patients comes into the clinic, they can individually handle a lot of patients and at least convince and consult them and refer them to the proper practitioners that they would require the guidance from. So otherwise, they are both very exciting. And like I said, one, you practice alone. Second, you practice with a group of people, but both the places you practice. So never ever consider retail as just a transactional place. It's a place where you are doing clinical practice at your own discretion and you are the ultimate decision maker over there. So they both are good. They're both clinical. There is nothing called as retail and clinic. They're both clinical in practice. That's for sure. You are on mute.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your insight. And we understood that both are the same side of the coin. But we want to understand whether the transition from hospital to retail was smooth for you, or you had hurdles.
Oh no, for me it was smooth in terms of patience. It was smooth in terms of dealing with customers. But the bigger problem that I faced when I was shifting from hospital to retail was, in hospital I used to prescribe. In retail, I came and learned dispensing. It's basically, I'll just give an example. In hospital, if the patient was, it was more of a disease centric approach I had when I was in hospital, and not a patient lifestyle centric approach. Now, of course, all clinics and hospitals are having lifestyle centric approach to the patients.
Yes.
And that's why patient centric practices are getting built up so much. But in our time, it was not there. So in the hospital part, I used to prescribe a lot. And when I came to an optical, I understood dispensing is so important, because whatever you give in a hospital, the patient don't come back to you. They have the faith and they try to get adjusted to the correction that you've given them. While in a retail, they will come back the next day or the day after and create a ruckus in your practice if your prescription or dispensing is off the charts. So retail, I got immediate feedback on the face that this is how I was going wrong somewhere. In hospital, the patients were struggling and probably getting adapted to my prescription. That does not happen in a retail. So that transition was a bit difficult, because then I had to go through books and bodies again. I have to read the books again. I have to read dispensing again, and then get my hands onto retail. So except for that, the transition was very good and rewarding for me in my career.
Okay. So we understood, though you had a very good clinical exposure, but you had your struggles and hurdles in retail. And here, the role of our academics is very important. Agree? Yeah.
Of
So next
course.
question goes to Prema ma'am. Prema ma'am, being an academician yourself and board member of Optometry Council of India and ASCO, so we would want to know your insights that how academics are gearing up for this hospital to retail transitions for our students.
Thank you, Neha. Thank you for inviting me, and I think it's a excellent initiative, and that too with such lovely panelists. It's a great way to start your week. I think if you look at the new competency, I wouldn't even say new. We always had a competency-based one about 10 years ago, and it was relooked in 22. Rizwana, I think you are part of that team, 21 or 22. We relooked at the Indian entry-level competencies. And I think all the institutions that are following the old and the new system are absolutely geared for it, because I think the most important, like how Rupam said, you can't separate the clinical aspect of eye care, irrespective of whether you are working in an hospital setup or in a retail setup. You can't remove that. And that's the most important skill. The most important competency is doing a good eye exam, doing a good refraction, fitting good contact lenses, handling troubleshooting. Like how we said, in retail, patients will immediately come back. And even in the hospital setup, patients do come back today, right? If they have a problem with their pair of glasses, because I think 90% of the hospitals, maybe even 95%, if I'm right, do have optical setups. And if they're going to make the glasses there, they will come back to you with some kind of a feedback saying if they are not comfortable, if they are comfortable, and so on. So I don't think today there is too much of a change when you transit from, unlike at my time when I used to work in eye hospitals, our eye hospitals did not have retail setups. We had very, very little exposure to dispensing. But over the years, as schools realized that students are, moving and taking up more jobs in dispensing, I think a lot of our curricula is now including internship. In internship, like institutions like us, we also place them in the hospital as well as give them retail exposure too. So I think students do get good exposure. Product knowledge is an ever-growing thing. Everyday products change. Schools can only teach fundamentals. But once the fundamentals are strong, I think learning about new products is a continuous process. So I think if you look at the present curriculum, I think we are fairly geared to giving these competencies to students.
So it is so what will be your advice?
From life. Please get now.
I'm sorry for the, I don't, okay. Am I audible? Yeah. So, Dr. Prema, we would want to know that even if the institutions are ready and the curriculum is set, it is what advices you will give it to our audience who are mostly students and they want to grow in their career. And I think here, out of your conversation, I realized that choosing a right institution is very important to have both exposure to retail and hospital equally. So what will be your advice to young graduates here?
So my advice to young graduates is not to look at the first 3 years of your academics as only to pass or to top in the class, but to see how you can carry it and implement it. The beauty of optometry curriculum is that whatever you learn, you actually do it in real life. Okay, so that's important. Your internship, the institutions that offer you a very robust internship with good balanced exposure to clinics, to community work, to dispensing, and also organize seminars in terms of bringing in industry and so on, which I think most of the good institutions are doing. Industry is also doing their bit.
Yes.
Whether we talk about the contact lens industry or the ophthalmic lens industry, I think all of them come in and do the bit. It's up to the students to absorb and implement it. And then as far as learning is concerned, it's a lifelong process, right? You can't, even on paper, I have 30 years work experience, but even today, we are awestruck by when we go to the developed world and we go and see how much more they do in eye care compared to what we do in India, right? Yes. I can see Riz smiling. So she kind of agrees with me that if you go look at all the work an optometrist does in the United States, including dispensing of glasses, I think we don't even do 20 or 30% of it. And that is where we need to go. You have all the skills, but implementing the skills is also equally important, right? It's very disappointing sometimes when you go to the retail sector and you see these optometrists, the centers provide them with slit lamps, they'll not be using the slit lamp. They are trained with all the ophthalmoscopy skills. All schools ask them to buy an ophthalmoscope. Their ophthalmoscope will be rotting at home. They will not be doing cup disc ratios. Why are you doing it? You are trained. You do your job, right? Why are you saying, I'll not do my... You do a good job. Patients will come back to you. So I think building a patient base, irrespective of whether it's your practice or you're working for any retail or for a hospital, I think the day patients come in saying, I want to see Optom so-and-so, I think that's when you have arrived. You are beginning to do justice to your patients. And that is only in your hands as an optometrist. I don't think any school can teach you that. You have to put your 100% into your work.
Yes, agree. So I think with saying that, thank you, Prema ma'am. And it is there. It is all in our mind. The limitations are all in the mind, and we need to really work on it to get to build our own brand and make happy customers or happy patients. Correct. So continuing from here, Dr. Rizwana, we would want to know from your own experience as an international, like you've worked internationally and in India. So your experience and your guidance to our young people.
I think Prema ma'am ended with that statement. Like she said, like you touched upon it. Become your own brand. Okay. So I just want to quickly, more than sharing my experience, some of late I'm feeling that by sharing our experiences, are we contaminating people's mind, saying like, like take this path. I'm in here to tell you something else today, because I'm in here to tell you, like, don't look at any of us. Okay. If you can see my screen, do you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm here to tell you that design your path and own it, because nobody's path is similar. And all of us, especially, I was like that, the first caricature that you see there, I thought life is gonna be like a bed of roses, especially, if you got a sort of fundamental trainings, well placed and all of it. And then like it's like home is comfort and all the stuff, right? But what I'm going to tell you is this. I'm going to give you a very different perspective today, okay? Which is usually all our choices in life, we make it based on what happens during our internship. So we are posted in different, clinics, community, or retail outlet, and then we look at what sort of looked appealing to us, comfortable to us, and based on our own, wherever we are placed, the states that we are in, opportunities available. That's number one. Number two, we look at who inspires us, our role model, and we say, I want to become like this person, and then we take their path. But I'm telling you, just go jump in, do all possible things that even you didn't want to do, because there is possibly some learning in each one of those, and then you choose for yourself. Because what I thought is, it's possibly one of the mistakes. I narrowed down my choices to something very, very early. And then I of course, I gained a lot of expertise in that. But later, when life took me to an altogether different path, I realized that I didn't have the necessary skill set in terms of being able to face the real world. Okay. The real world out there is much more than what is being shown to you within your institution, within your country, within the scope of your practice. So allow yourself to first challenge. Okay. So I'm going to ask you guys something. Which model are you going to choose? And please put it in the chat box. Of course, I chose women because, sorry, Rupam. There are two people out here. One is presentable, knowledgeable, whatever you say, they are able to sit and, first of all, listen to your feedback, and someone that's able to challenge themselves. Okay. And there is number two, which is, of course, not concerned about outlook. I came from model 2, I'll tell you, because I used to be like this. If you have everything inside your head, you can dress up in any way you want, right? And then someone who's, if somebody tells you, you're like super, you're super, and you don't even think about like what is apparently like lacking. So you have to constantly keep a self-check. And then defensive to feedback. If somebody comes and tells, Riz, I think there's something that you're missing in here, I should shut down my ego first and then listen to it. Okay. Which model do you choose first? Just put it in the chat box. One or two. I know the answer is very upfront, but then I still want to hear from you. Like I want to program your subconscious today saying, you know what, even I'm in model 2 right at this moment, I'm willing to shift to model 1. So what do you choose? The chat is not showing up. Okay, I should look at where. I can see the chat, right?
Q&A, ma'am.
Okay, model 1. Okay, I start. Neither. Yeah. Somebody is saying that they want to be neither because they want to probably become their own self, I guess, whatever it is. But yeah, looking at these two models, which one would you choose?
People are saying model 1, ma'am.
Model 1. Okay, great. Because I'm not able to see in here as a panelist.
Yeah.
So the concept that which you asked me in terms of what I want to tell you is, of course, people call it soft skills. Soft skills, I mean, all of us really spoke about competencies. Yes, if we come from a really good academic background, we assume that all of these competencies are hardwired. We train it again and again, your retinoscope, your refraction, your ophthalmic dispensing, the competencies that are there on the curriculum as such. But then something which I think I would just want to call it soft skills, first of all, because those are not really soft skills, which is preparing yourself to face the real world. And this doesn't come from a cookbook, or just doesn't come from reading some theory and learning. It comes from putting yourself out into the real world. And this is exactly where retail has the greatest scope, according to me, because retail is where you you interact with the team of your immediate reporting authorities, plus also you interact with clients or customers or patients who comes with diverse needs and scope, and then you start thinking for them, right? So that's where I realized that academic to retail, in terms of improving all of those necessary hard competencies within your subconscious mind, I think that is super important. Okay. Of course, being an EI, emotional intelligence coach, I'm not going to talk about this, but look at the topmost part of it. Are you, for somebody in the chat box said, I don't want to be either. Why do you say that? Are you not really questioning yourself in terms of where am I currently? Or you are being defensive in terms of even being able to look at your own self? Okay. So develop awareness, look at all of these aspects. It's going to help you in life at large. Look at aspects of how you're able to connect with a fellow human being, because what really lacks outside in the world is kindness. Okay. And then relationship management. If you excel in all the top, then you'll become the leaders that you're seeing right now on the panels. Especially I look up to people like Rupam Sinha, Dr. Prema ma'am, because if you see, we all belong to that same 95% sort of this normal distribution curve, where we have the same skills like all of you, right? But what really makes someone a leader versus someone a follower is these components. Okay. So the more and more you become aware, I think the more and more you then start to become exceptional. Okay. The last bit I want to tell you is this one, which is don't follow anybody, because a large majority of us just keep following some trail steps and footsteps that somebody else left for us. But discover your own strengths, and that comes only through your own individual experience. So listen to all of us, but then also do your own thinking. Just go and think for yourself, and then take mentoring support and coaching support. I'm so glad that OptiConsult ME is offering such things in terms of like understanding who you are first, what will work for you. And the reason why we are here talking about the retail world out there is mainly because, growth happens outside of our comfort zone. And I was such a fearful person, and I was ignoring the retail industry for a long time. I'll be very upfront with it, mainly because I thought I didn't have confidence to face that world. Okay. I was so comfortable within my academic environment. Unlike Prema ma'am, who constantly, she had her own practice, she had to see. Rupam went out into the world too early, but I was not that person. I was like really at home for a long time. But when I embraced, and I would say that's the best decision that I ever made, because it really helped me understood a lot of what we needed to know with respect to not just professional development, but with respect to growth in one's life at large. Okay. So that's what I would just my tidbits for the day.
Thank you, Dr. Rizwana, for the wonderful presentation. I think it cleared a lot of us mind that we had a confusion on in our, constant confusion whether to go for retail or clinics and whether to step out of the comfort zone. And it is a difficult take, but thank you for sharing your own experience. A heartfelt thank you to you, ma'am. So now we jump into our question and answer session from the audience. Um, Before that, I want to tell you that our fourth panelist. Yes, Rupam sir.
Neha said, and if I may, if it's okay with you.
If you can repeat, I just missed out. Yeah.
I said I just want to add something to what Dr.
Yes,
Rizwana
yes,
said,
yes.
and if you allow, I can just go ahead and share
Absolutely.
for
Yes,
just a couple of
absolutely.
minutes.
Please go ahead.
So, two things basically. It's first of all, it's always fantastic to listen to Dr. Rizwana at any given point of time. She's so inspiring on that. So what I want to say is that, she's absolutely correct. She is absolutely bang on. So when she said that you go and face the real world, she also said one thing is the first thing is also kindness. So don't forget that. I just wanted to bring both of it together. So just remember two things basically when you are going out in the real world. Don't let the world change you. Don't let the world change the person you are at heart, because at heart we are all very kind, lovable, and helping person. Don't let the world make you bitter. And the second part is, since you are at the growing phase of a career, you might think that sharing your knowledge, sharing your expertise might hamper your progress. But believe me, today I'll take this opportunity to share with all of you. All of us can win together. Individual wins can only constrict optometry, but all of us can win together as well. But that only happens when you are true to yourself, like Dr. Rizwana said. And please keep kindness, love at heart, and also embrace the change that is going to happen, because the world is ever changing. So embrace the change, be true to yourself, and don't let the world change you. That was one part of it. And the second part of it was, when you are in a retail, every single day you can be James Bond. People will come with their own agendas to you, and you will be able to change their agendas and change their mind with your expertise and knowledge of the brands, knowledge of the frames, knowledge of the lenses, and knowledge of your optometry that has helped you in dispensing the actual number in the beginning. So it's a great profession in retail, because and also it's a great profession in hospital. But in retail, I really felt like James Bond every day, dressing up, wearing my tie, wearing my blazer, and going out in the retail. So that is just one part I wanted to share after Dr. Rizwana's that beautiful presentation. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm on mute. Hello, am I audible? Yeah. Thank you, Optom Rupam. And this is a very important perspective to give. Everything is achievable, but kindness is very important. Kindness for a patient, and ultimately the satisfaction you get after doing a particular workup with kindness. So thank you, Dr. Rupam and Dr. Rizwana. So my question to Prema ma'am. Prema ma'am, there's a question from the audience to you. I'm just reading out that. For opening one's individual clinic just after internship, what steps and strategies should we follow?
I think immediately after internship, I think it's a little early to put up your practice. I would say take a couple of years at least of experience, both in retail and in the hospital, before you set up your own practice. Because anytime success in private practice comes when the patient puts the faith in you. And often the patient's perspective is that you want to go to somebody who's experienced. Look at yourself. If you have a young doctor practicing, even a young practicing general physician next to you versus a senior, more experienced one, you will often opt for the experienced one, right?
Yes.
So it is, nobody will say, let me give an opportunity to the young one. So, and especially in the ever-changing world in the retail, where competition is so tough, and you're not going to be a part of a large chain where your mistakes can be very easily covered. Somebody will jump in, your senior optom will jump into into the well to save you if you made a mistake and things like that. That is not going to happen in your private practice, right? Once impression lost is lost. And in private practice, I strongly believe, with my years of experience in private practice, if you lose one patient, don't think you've lost one patient. You've lost that patient's entire family, entire friend circle, an entire community whom they could have actually referred to you if you would have done a good job, right? And you can do a good job with 10 patients. There is no guarantee they'll refer more patients to you. But if you do a bad job, people will definitely badmouth you. Okay? That is unfortunately how rude the world is. So what Rizwana said, you don't let that contaminate your mind, or what Rupam said. I think it's important that you do justice to what you have done. You have to do a good job. And good job comes in, I think, strongly with experience and choosing your own path, how you want to do. You think you are experienced enough to jump into the well in the first year, go ahead and do it. Okay. But if you ask me, I would think 2 years, at least spend 2 years in retail, or 1-2 years in private before you start your own practice. Unless you come from a family where you have a mentor already at home, like your father or your uncle or your brother or your sister who's already there to mentor you, then you can directly jump in and so on. But if you are going to be an entrepreneur, I think it's important, because even for me, when I started my private practice with more than whatever, at that time, I already had 10-12 years of experience. I had both hospital, retail, corporate. I probably had all of it, academics. Before I started, my first 2 years were a struggle for me. It's also a reason why it was a struggle is because I again chose to do something different, which nobody probably had done in India. I said, I will have my practice running only for 2 hours in the evening. And everybody said, how does that work? The shutter has to be open 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day. I said, no. I have seen globally, optometrists practice 2 hours, 3 hours, practice here, practice there. Why should the ophthalmologist practice 2 hours in the evening? Why should an optometrist not have a practice for 2 hours in the evening? And my practice is almost 20 years old now, and I haven't looked back. So what worked for me may not work for somebody else. So as Rizwana said, you don't need to follow the path. You have to choose it. This is the path I chose. I chose that I don't want to give up my academics for personal reasons. At the same time, I think if I want to be a good faculty, I need to see patients. I can't be dealing with administrative work in the university and then claim to be a good practitioner, right? Or claim to be a good teacher, because I'm not teaching the latest to my students then. So I think experience is a must before you get into private practice.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Prema, for getting the query solved. I think the question is answered, and it is more of experience that you need to start up your own practice. Thank you, ma'am. So next question is for Dr. Rizwana. What is the scope of research in retail?
It is something that you should definitely do, and nobody has touched it. Nobody, I mean, no, when I say nobody, it's of course a very, very small majority for all of the reasons, which is like, okay, doing research outside of an institution or academic practice is not easy. You need to have a lot of regulations, but it's definitely not something that which is unachievable. Okay. And doing things like this should give you the dopamine hit, I will tell you. Okay. You should now say, I'm going to like break the status quo and I'm going to try something out new. And what is not possible when you network with the right people. Not just doing research, for doing anything out of this, whatever the conventional model that people have like really keep speaking about. I think the key to it is to get the right partnership, which is something again I realized. We all think about breaking barriers as like one man army, right? But the whole world is interdependent. Like we are so connected, and we think that we don't have necessary support system. But did you really go speak to 10 people? How many of them said no to you? Right? If you go speak to 10, one will align with you, will come. Then you go speak to the next 10. So form that tiny little community of yours, like don't have a large circle also, and then brainstorm. And I think again, Retailoscope, I really, really appreciate, because this is something that I always wanted to do, right? You know, in terms of being able to be of support to or people that want some sort of guidance. Now, what are the things that you can do in retail as such from a research perspective? Millions of questions unanswered. Okay. In terms of, for example, just take dispensing. Okay. We keep asking questions like, what is the most common reason for a customer's discomfort? And then we immediately say centration. Okay. Or we immediately say wrong refraction. Is that really the truth? Yes, I do have some papers that are basically blogs that speaks about what percentage is like refraction oriented. And there's one publication also that's come from a big institution in India that speaks about dispensing errors and especially a large percentage due to wrong refraction. But where is this wrong refraction coming from? Is it manual? Was it auto refractor? So now how to bridge the gap, how to make it more customer centric in terms of like making that first experience beautiful and brilliant, like so that so we are able to stand up for our one of our key competency, which is ophthalmic dispensing, which is something we keep ignoring, all the time in a hospital practice, especially. Okay, my thought process would stop the moment I write my prescription and hand it over. I just don't think beyond it. Yeah? So I think it's something like which has to be tapped into, and there are millions of opportunities out there.
Yes, ma'am. So ideally, there's no stop. We had this limitation of not doing research work in retail because there will be no support. So yes, but I think it is very much essential that if you are interested and you have an interest to conduct a research, you can go ahead and do it. And what better than retail? The number of patients what we get, a number of subjects we get in retail is far more, and we can give a lot of time there. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yes.
Yeah, I'll put even this up to you, like, up front, and I mean, in front of this audience here, like Rupam, I think inspired me with that idea saying you have to share. You're morally obliged to share. Most of us hold on to this brilliant idea thinking, oh, if I share, somebody is going to do it. Okay, go do it. It's okay. I'm fine with it. So in that sense, we think that research is data collection. Like you need to go do. Research is also survey. Research is also customer experience. Research is also understanding knowledge, attitude, and practice patterns. Now, how many of you really how, including me, okay, how many of us tapped into all of this and did it? Resources out there. So that's what I'm saying. Break the concept that doing research is super difficult. There are multiple ways to do research: systematic review, meta-analysis, literature review, telling okay, what are actually independent practitioners doing out there? How many of them rely more on dispensing? How many of them rely more on specialty lens practice? How many of them rely more on just refraction, co-management? So much to do, guys. I mean, you just keep picking my brains. I keep throwing out 100 ideas. So
okay, thank you, ma'am, for sharing your insight on the research and retail optometry. Next question is for Rupam sir. So, how to gear up to become a good trainer and professional service leader? This is from the audience.
Okay, so I think for the first thing, the first requirement of becoming a practitioner, a trainer, a leader is to first become a good human being with very, very good intentions in life, right? Once you have achieved that, sharing is very, very easy. Caring for people is very, very easy. Uh, Loving people is very, very easy. And then you can talk their language, which is a simplified version. The most important part of a trainer is to able to speak to people in a simple way that they understand, and not some jargons that some literature or some seniors has thrown at us, right? And if you know how to speak to people, you will only be able to do that when you really, really love someone, you care for someone, you will think from their perspective and not yours. So if you get 2 hours of time, you are not thinking, oh, I have to establish myself as a great trainer. You are thinking, what can I give to this audience? Because you love them. So you want to give it to them. So the first and foremost criteria is to become a very, very, very good human being first, without any bad intentions for anybody in life. And believe me, that is going to keep you very, very happy in life. You don't have to pretend, you don't have to think, you can just speak your minds out.
Yeah.
And then the second part is understand your audience even before you come for the session. Understand who are participating. Try to understand their motivators and barriers. Think from their shoes. And then plan the training according to them, so that after 2 hours that they have given, it's a privilege for a trainer that somebody has given me the 2 hours of time, which they're not going to get back in life. I should be of value to them. Think from this perspective that they're giving you something which they will never get back in life, 2 hours of their life. So please ensure that the training is on for them and not to prove how big or how great you are or how knowledgeable you are. Go dumb. One session for trainers is go dumb as you can. Ask the question why, and then come back to a final conclusion of why. Prepare your presentation on that, and take care of the privilege that has been given to you, that they have trusted you with their time in life. So I think that's the baseline guide for being a good trainer and a professional services. And simplify science, because patients ultimately don't understand the science we talk about. So simplify it, right? Patient normally asks you, how does this helps me? And we talk about decay by T, water content, modulus, contact angle.
Yeah.
Simplify science as much as you can. I think that those are the two basic requirements for being a professional service or trainer, as per me and my limited knowledge of it.
I think I take two things from you: being a selfless person to become a good trainer, and secondly, simplifying science. I still remember the first conference I attended by you, and we still remember the examples you set in. So yeah, simplifying science, we'll take it from there. Thank you, sir. Yeah. So there's one more question coming in. It is open to all the panelists. How can we know about the types of lenses in the brand catalog, like SLR or Carl Zeiss, to explain the patient? So anybody who wants to answer.
I would probably go for that because of the extensive years of retail and dealing with catalogs that I have gone through. So first and foremost, ask the company to send the representative to you. Sit with them and clear the doubts. Ask them anything. They should be afraid to come to you. Believe me on that, and not the other way around. You should not be afraid to ask them questions, because you are doing it for your patient. And what I love about Opti Consult means first line on your website is patient-centric practice. That is what we are looking for. We are not, again, for a practitioner, you have to be, all loving to your patients. Because as Prema ma'am said, right, if the patient is happy, at least they will come back. That much we know. If they don't even allow the community to come back. But if they're not happy, we as human beings basically love sad songs. So we love to talk about sadness to everybody and not our happiness to everybody. Right? So we have a patient-centric practice. So those people in the company should be very, very afraid to come to you that I don't know what she's going to ask or he's going to ask. And probably I have reached a level in my retail practice where they used to come in teams because they never knew what I'm going to ask. Is it a technical question? Is it a commercial question? Or is it basically something to do with the fitting questions? So ideally, see the catalog, write down your doubts, give them a chance to prepare themselves, write down them a mail or write a WhatsApp. These are my queries. Please come prepared. Set out a time for them for 1 hour, probably in the afternoon or in the days where you have least patient flow. And then sit and talk to them and understand from them and clear your doubts. That's one part. Second part is, as probably I'll take another 2 minutes to discuss this. When I was in retail, I used to do a lot of research. Not in research part, but research is like first in, first out, which is the frame that came in and went out faster, which is the lens that I'm selling the most, which is the nose pad that goes the most, right? Which is the type of shell frame I sell the most. What is the temple length? What is the A size? What is the B size that I'm selling out? Which is of my staff is only selling high value, because I'm very worried about staffs who sells high value only. That's a detrimental to your practice as well, because you're not doing ethical practice or dispensing as per patient's requirement. So find this out. What is your patient criteria? What is your patient's age group? How much your patient normally pays off? And then fit the lenses as per your patients. Because I always said, never ever find a patient for the lenses you have. Find the lenses for the patients you have. There is a huge difference on this, right? So you have a patient, find the right lenses for them. So once you know your patient data, when you've gone through your patient data, found out what type of patients is coming to your practice, what is your average selling price in your area, what is the type of frames you are looking for, what is the type of lifestyle of your patient, then choose the product from the catalog. The company will make thicker and thicker catalogs because it is their way of selling more and more to you and giving you more and more options. But it is your responsibility as a practitioner to pinpoint to your patients as good, better, best. Your patients will not understand a lot of things. Your patient's attention span is very, very less. So you have to say, this is good, this is better, and this is best, based on their lifestyle, not on the product, feature, and advantage. We often get mixed up in product, features, and advantage. How does it benefit me as a person based on my lifestyle is what you should give me. So eat the company's head out. Everybody should be scared to come to you. That's the first thing. and optimize the product as per your patient's requirement, as per their individual lifestyle, because then only you become a consultant optometrist.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah. And sorry for the elaborative answer.
Oh, I think that is a required answer, and I think that was a blockage for everybody of every one of us, that we always go with fab features, advantages, and benefits, and we have to go with midway dispensing, as you rightly said, and understand the patient's requirement first. I will now hand it over to Optom Murtuza Ebrahim, as Rupam Mukherjee couldn't make it because of technical glitches, and he was traveling. So handing over to Murtuza, sir. Yeah.
Hi, good morning. It's been amazing call this morning, and okay, overwhelming for me. All points covered. Running for my piece. What should I be discussing on the call? But any case, thank you, Dr. Rizwana, Dr. Prema. I haven't met you in person, but would love to. Rupam, have been with him for quite some time. So I just wanted to thank you all for being here. OptiConsult is one step that we have just taken to make sure that optometrists from various background can feel free approach. Me being introvert myself, I thought I should come up with something for all the introverts there. So again, I would want to just touch base upon what Rupam Mukherjee wanted to share. He just wanted to share about the market size of retail job, and it says the overall the retail business is growing at 7% CAGR, and from 2024 to 2032, it's looking very promising, and the jobs are really going to rampant up in the similar field. And he being a trainer himself, me being the trainer myself in the dispensing field, we find certain skill gaps, the majority of one, which is mindset, which is one already covered. Sometimes we don't leave that clinician mindset, and then we struggle when we are in the retail landscape. And the biggest stake is between the patient and the customer. So, my whole concept starts there. Basically, patient in the clinic, yes, with a complete different mindset of maybe a bit of fear. Customer gives you a fear. So there's a huge difference between how we are actually handling both the aspects. But yes, so the whole purpose of having OptiConsult was to make sure that we bridge this gap, and then we also get expert advice in understanding how we can actually bridge this up. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Prema. Thank you, Rizwana. Thank you, Rupam, for sharing all that. And there are a lot of questions coming up now on the chat on how do I counterattack buy one get one from the corporate companies? How do I actually delist or differentiate between different products? I think the call is not for that purpose, but definitely we'll arrange something on the similar line. Thank you. I'll hand it over back to Neha for the closure. Thanks.
I heartfelt thank you to all our panelists, Dr. Prema Chande, Dr. Rizwana, and Rupam Sinha, for your insights and giving us time on Sunday morning and enlightening us with such a great knowledgeable session. I would really like to thank the entire team of OptiConsult Me and our audiences. We have 70 participants till the end, and we are glad to have them on Sunday morning. Finally, we would want to also take feedback for today's session, because this is the first of its kind session. So, and as we rightly said, we are open to feedback. The model 2, the model 1. Yeah, from Dr. Rizwana. So feedback link has been shared on the chat box. I would request the audience to fill in the feedback quickly.
And since the time they're filling the feedback, Neha, I would probably,
Yes.
I love quoting Dr. Rizwana, so I can't help myself again. Just as an ending note of it is that, as she said, please remember, help is just an ask away. Many a times as human beings, we don't ask for help. We think we will struggle through it ourselves. Don't. It's not worth it, believe me. And as Will Smith always said, read books and go for a run. Okay? Because there is no problem in the world. You are discovering yourself. Somebody has discovered it before you, and they have navigated their way through you. So if you read book, it is fine. And if you ever people like Dr. Prema, Dr. Rizwana, and scopes like Opti Consult Me, help is just a call away. So don't worry about that. Ask for help and go for a run, because that's when you can listen to yourself. Because Dr. Rizwana said dopamine, I'll add serotonin and noradrenaline into the mix as well. So go for a run. That's going to help you to realize your potential and clear your mind and stay happy for longer duration of time. So ask for help and go for a run for sure. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you, Optom Rupam. And any final words from Dr. Prema and Dr. Rizwana?
I have a closing remark as well, of course, which is, of course, I mean, I can keep stating Rupam back, but I mean, what is your own benchmark for success? I mean, because this is the first session, the question I want to ask all of you is like, what is your benchmark for success? And it's very important to understand that being optometrists, I think we are also entrepreneurs within our own self. Like that is the mindset we need to inculcate and incorporate. And if we have to become, if I ask you, can you imagine working 9 to 5, 10 to 6, all up until your end of your life? None of us want to, right? We want to become our own bosses at some point and then get relieved of this whole clutch that's being imposed onto us. The only way that you can get that dream of yours is to expand your horizons and make you competent 360 degrees. And without retail exposure experience, I don't think it's gonna be possible, both reality wise as well as based on the CAGR and the market size and everything. So please, wherever you are, hospital, clinical practice, academia, ensure, don't keep telling like what I was telling, retail is not my cup of tea. No. Rupam is already drinking his tea. You can't escape from drinking that tea. So cheers, Rupam. Please, whatever means and ways that you want to get that experience, please do it. And we should aim towards becoming an entrepreneur, because that is what is doing justice to our own profession in terms of, being able to offer all that we've learned in school to our clients, to our customers, patients, without being bound by any sort of restrictions. And so, yes, please work towards it.
Thank you, Dr. Rizwana, for the insights. Any final comments or words from Dr. Prema Chande?
I think it's important to set your goals. Of course, goals can change. And as Rizwana said, you can define your own success. So if you remember, Neha, when we do career to campus counseling at Lotus, I always get you all to fill these forms. It says, where do you see yourself 5 years down, 2 years from now? I think that's important. And yes, you have to plan. You can't just take one day as it comes. Okay, the initial 1 or 2 years of your career is good, but I think it's important to do some planning. Yes, plans can go wrong, they can be modified, but it's good to have a goal and to work towards it. I think that's most important. I think goal setting is an exercise which I think is one of the skills which I think is missing. We should train our students to do a little more goal setting, whether it's personal goals, professional goals. I think that's very, very important. If you ask me, I learned it very late in life, what the goals were, because when I started, when I was being pushed into the part of taking over Lotus, which is not what we did when we started forming the organization, when the trust was formed. But when we got in, I knew I had a very, very clear goal for Lotus, but I never had those personal goals, and then I took it up as the institute grew, I set my goals. But I wish I had also done both. Retrospectively thinking, if I would have said both, then maybe organization also would have benefited with that. But anyway, you also learn. Life is it's a lifelong learning experience. So I think learning to set your goals is also equally important. Neha, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry. So it is interlinked with all three of the panelists' discussion, that setting the goal, and it is interlinked with learning from each other, and having a team of experts together, like-minded people to work with, right? So thank you, Dr. Prema, for giving us this insight. And yes, I think the audience is now set to set their goals for the next 1 year at least. Yeah. So, and I would like to thank Dr. Rizwana and Optom Rupam Sinha as well for the wonderful insights and sharing their experiences with us. I think we want to hear more from all our panelists. I think we'll have we are planning for some sessions with all of you individually. So please accept our invite for the future as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, any closing remarks from Murtuza?
Can I leave?
Yes, yeah, we are done. We are done. Yeah.
Yeah, we are done. We are done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
We're leaving? Yeah, bye.